So let's see. Are they muted? You. Okay, so we'll get started. So, okay, so this is day 4. This is Thursday, August 7th. Right, good. 2022.
Lucky day.
2014. So this is the day we have a job fair with the Downtown Project that hopefully everybody will be ready for. I know the resumes are ready. The resumes have been sent off. We do need to make sure that you take a couple printed versions of your resume with you. But today the discussion was about what?
Body language and
the interview.
Being ready for the interview.
Okay, so it's the interview. Specifically, the videos we watched have to do with body language, non-verbals.
And being prepared.
Yes, we should be coming up right about now. Yeah, we see.
Hello, Dennis.
Hello. Hi, how are you, Ed?
Great. Good to hear your voice.
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Now, I see Rose. Are you ready, Rose? What is this?
Ed, can you hear me?
Yep. Okay. Great. So we have gotten started, and welcome in California. How's the weather today?
Very nice.
Great.
Hi.
Good. Okay, so today we're going to focus on the interview. The 2 short videos we had were about pretty much non-verbal activities, things to do to help yourself. The first video that we saw said you have 7 seconds to make a good first impression. The Larson approach is you have 5 seconds to make a good first impression. It doesn't really matter if it's 7 or 5 because it takes you about 2 seconds to take a breath. So it's not enough to worry about. But just get very clearly you have 5 to 7 seconds to make a good first impression. What was one of the things in one of those videos that they said is one of the best things you can do to do that? Fernando, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Welcome back. Great postings on Google+.
Thank you.
Good job. Excellent job on that. So what was one of the things, I think it was the first video, she said, if you do this, it will have a big impact.
There was a lot of things. One of them was...
I'm trying to do it right now.
Smile.
Nothing rare for me.
To stand up straight.
Smile.
Smile, stand tall.
Okay, so when you're meeting the person for the first time, smile, make quick eye contact, and what is the amount of time to get eye contact initially?
Long enough to see what their color of their eyes is.
To tell what color their eyes are, right. And now in the Indian version, what did they say?
Avoid the gaze.
Avoid that initially so that you let them look at you.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you're shaking hands, certainly you should look them in the eye and say to yourself, what color eye do they have? But more important than that, when they say their name, make sure you repeat that to yourself and you know their name and you associate it with somebody else that you know. So if they say their name is Tony, think of something that associates with Tony, like what?
Tony Bennett.
Okay, Tony Bennett, Tony the Tiger, Tony whatever. Associate with something, because if in the interview you can use their name when you're answering a question, that is much more powerful and stronger. Now in the handshake, Tiger Todd says, 1 pump. What's all this business about a palm up, palm down, straight? What did that mean? What does that mean? Anybody know what that means?
Palm up is for the welcome. You want to bring them in.
Okay. No.
Dominance and
Can't hear you loud.
Okay.
Fernando,
nobody-
is it a sign of confidence?
Okay, so when you're doing power sales, transactional selling, when it's one person is the boss, they will take their hand, like start like this, and then they'll go like that. And they'll have a palm down. They will be palm down. That puts you in the weaker position. Okay, now you're like this. So what did he say to do if they do that? To move to the left. If he does that. We're not going to have to worry about that today. I thought that was just kind of interesting. Yes, Mary?
What about if some interviewer turned over?
He probably won't put his hand up too much.
Okay, well, okay, so the question was, what if the interviewer is germophobic and they don't want to shake hands? Number one, the probability of that is probably very low because that person's behavior reflects on the whole company. So if somebody's germophobic, probably they won't let them interview. But let's say it's Tony Hsieh. Tony Hsieh is not a guy that will go and shake hands. When he was at the lowdown the other day, and every time I've seen him, he doesn't initiate. Excuse me. And the funny thing is, most other people here don't do that either. And his field of vision appears like it's about 3 feet. He's not looking at who's on the other side of the room. When he walks in to the lowdown, his vision is like right here. He doesn't see everybody there. Whereas, say, if it was Steve Wynn, he's looking around the room. Oh, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. You know, things like that.
Steve Wynn's half blind.
He's more than half blind, yeah. He has something else. But these people, other people are looking around. So the point is Tony Hsieh doesn't do that, but I don't think you're going to find people who don't want to shake. But if they don't, and they want to do this, then that's what you do. But I don't think you are going to find that. We're prepared for it. You have 5 seconds to make a good first impression. It starts with your smile, looking them in the eyes, and then your handshake. That's going to be at least 5 seconds just to do that. Now, what did they say in the Indian tutorial before you shake hands or before you see the person? What did they say, Victoria? What were they talking about?
To make sure you're presentable and to go over your thoughts of how you're going to present yourself.
Okay, but right before you see the person, right before you walk in the room, when they might be watching you.
To be prepared, have your resume ready.
So take long, smooth strides, and don't walk slowly. Okay? They might now today at this job fair we're going to. You're going to have to walk over to them. It's in the Gold Spike. It's an open room, 2 or 3 times the size of this. They have cocktail table stand type things that they will probably have these at, high chairs, and they might, come on over and you will have to walk to them. So it's important to be confident. As we have heard, 93% of success in an interview is not the resume; it's it's your confidence and your confidence and attitude, plus your other nonverbals. So you should walk in a confident manner. Now, what did Amy Cuddy tell us to do? Huh? Power pose. Get your testosterone up and your cortisol down by doing a power pose for 2 minutes, not in sight of them. Okay, see, I knew I had to say that for Jamie's benefit since he was going to do that today. Here is an important thing to know, and so this job fair is done by the Downtown Project people, highly influenced by Zappos and Tony Hsieh. They like to do things to trick people. So you've got to be very careful. What do I mean by that? So if you're going to interview at Zappos, they'll fly you out. If it's a high-level position, they'll fly you out. They'll pick you up at the airport. They'll give you a tour of the place. And then you'll spend 3, 4, 5 hours in interviews. And then they'll say, great, the car's downstairs that's going to take you back to the airport. And you say, great, thank you, whatever, and you leave.
Don't they use speed interviewing here? Like when it suffers?
I don't know, but that's not the point. So the important thing is, when the driver comes back, they ask him to come in and say, what happened in the van? How was the guy in the bus? Why? Because they set it up so during the day, stress, pressure, moving here, there, schedule. So when you get in the van on the way back, how do you feel?
Relief.
How you treat the driver is an indication to them of what kind of person you are. So you need to be prepared for tricky stuff like that. Maybe somebody's going to walk up and say, would you like a glass of water or a Coke? You need to be polite to that person. These are customer service positions. So you need to be polite. Don't underestimate them. These people are very, very, very smart, and they're looking for passionate people. It's important, again, it's important that you remember the names of the people that you're meeting. Okay? Smile, be direct, be confident. Yes, Mary?
When you ask for a business card before you get up,
No.
Don't ask for a business card?
No. When you start doing that, you're taking control of the interview. They have their agenda. You don't know. Many people, most people don't, who have a plan and they have an agenda, right? They don't want that upset. Okay? They might not want you to have their card because they might not want you to call them back.
How do you follow up then?
You ask them.
Ask them what?
What's the next step?
Oh, okay.
What's next? What do we do next? Okay? But in this situation, we have to give them the initiative. They're in control of the interview. Okay, this is the case of he who has the gold makes the rules. This is the golden rule. Okay, it's their interview. It's not our interview. It's their interview. They call the rules. And if they want you to have their card, guess what they're going to do? When you walk up, they're going to do this. Hi, how are you? Married? Here's my card. Right? That's what they will do.
Does somebody ask you if you want a drink of water or whatever, just politely say no? Or?
No, I wouldn't politely say no. I would be polite.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you have sweat pouring down,
You look like you need a drink of water.
say, God, that would be great. Thanks. It's 120 degrees outside. I just walked 2 blocks.
Yeah.
I'm beat.
That'd be more polite to say yes.
So you have to play that by ear. You need to be sincere. What they're looking for is passionate people who can do the job they're looking for. Okay, so for you, I said both of you guys have cooking experience. Jamie is there for dishwasher, and Mark is there for cook. Because I don't think you could do the dishwashing thing physically. No, I know you have, but I don't think physically that would be the right decision, right? Okay. But that's what I said for you. Okay? So, all right, so back to our stuff. So the interview. So again, the first 5 seconds is critical. And it's very easy to not blow it. And people think, we've all been conditioned to think, if you can't do the simple things right, you can't do the hard things right. Does anybody remember People Airlines, People Express?
I remember my own personal.
Okay, People Express was a low-frills airline, and everybody had to do a lot of jobs. So you might be the ticket person, and then you're the stewardess, or you might do this, and then you're that. They had people doing all kinds of things. But the value they instilled with the employees was, if a customer puts down their food tray and it's dirty, they're going to think the engine will fall off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't do the simple things right, if you can't keep a tray clean, you can't maintain this airplane properly. So little things matter. Little things matter a lot. And if you can't get the first 5 seconds right, if you can't walk up to them properly, good posture, confident, positive, long strides, smiling, making eye contact, shaking hands, if you can't do that, what is it reasonable to expect them to conclude?
Not higher.
That you're not capable of doing anything.
Yeah, if you can't do that, how can you cook a meal? How can you wash a dish if you can't even last 5 seconds?
Dish, you're going to be your engine. You're going to do the jet engine repairman.
Now, the next 50 seconds
That's what it was. I was asking.
is where it's going to go this way, or that way.
Or sideways.
Okay? One of 3 things is going to start happening. It's either going to start being good, it's going to start being bad, or it's going to continue to be unclear.
Yeah. That is
But within the first 5 minutes, it's going to be very clear.
Yeah.
Now, it might not be clear to you,
It'll be way clearer than
but it's going to be clear to them. And they might not want it to be clear to you. You know, in restaurant situations, because customers are unpredictable, right? And when it deals with food, people have a tendency to get upset if they don't get what they want, or if they find something in it, right? They tend to get upset. So they might want to create a situation to see how you're going to respond to uncertainty. Like, we don't want you to know what we're thinking. And I can tell you, if Tony Shea is there, he's going to be looking at you doing this.
But don't be alarmed.
The whole time.
Don't be alarmed.
And he is thinking about stuff. He's not playing games. He's thinking, he's doing stuff. And there's a lot of things, not a lot, but there's a number of things on the internet where it's talking about when you're sitting there with Tony Shea, it's intimidating. Because he is somewhat inscrutable. You don't know what he's thinking. But he's thinking a lot. And he's making movements that we don't normally do. Okay? So
don't let it freak you out.
yeah, so, but on the other hand, this is the downtown project, and they are about people being passionate,
So he
right?
might be there. You're saying.
Yeah, he was there last time.
Wow.
But what they want is they want people that are passionate. So it's not likely that they're going to be the opposite of that, right? If they want passionate people, are they going to be sitting there like, huh, what?
No, no,
No.
no.
So there's another technique called mirroring, right? Has anybody heard of that? Okay, Otis has. How about Victoria? Have you heard of mirroring?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so what is mirroring, just very simply?
It's where it's just what you're doing, what the other person is doing.
Yeah, you're mirroring them. Okay, if they are smiling, you're smiling. If they're tilting their head, you're tilting your head. If they're leaning forward, you're leaning forward. If they're leaning back, you're leaning back. If they're sitting with one leg crossed over, you're sitting with one leg crossed over. You're just doing what they're doing.
I think that would be pretty.
And about that, should if my leg is crossed over, should it be crossed over towards them?
I don't know about that. And that's not going to be relevant today. Okay? But I think the safe approach is have your feet firmly on the floor beneath you. And then if they're going to cross their right leg, then you cross your right leg. Okay? Okay, so we have about 5 minutes. The interview, this is where it all happens, is in the interview process. And there's 2 main fundamental things. Can you do the job, and do you fit in? Can you do the job, and do you fit in? If you can do the job, but you don't fit in, why would they hire you?
They're not.
No, wrong. Okay, why would they hire you if you can do the job, but you don't fit in? So this is not a trick
Because you
question.
got skills.
It's
a very hard job.
Because you're the best person for the job. Okay, maybe you're the only person that applied. And they're going to think in terms of, okay, well, we don't like this guy, but we need somebody today. And we'll just see how it goes. try to nurture them along, or we'll just think of it as a temporary thing, or we'll tell them it's probation, we'll try it out for a couple weeks, whatever. So now let's say you don't have the skills, but they like you. Why would they hire you?
They can train you.
Yeah, because you could be trainable. And I think that is the approach, Jamie, that you need to take. Okay? And I think, Mark, that should be more of your approach. I've worked at a lot of different places. I've seen every place has their own way of doing things. The good news about me is, because I've worked in a lot of places, I can adapt. You just show me how you want to do it. Okay? Turn that, I've worked in a lot of places, into a positive. And I worked at Denny's, and that's one of the largest restaurants in the country, right? They punch out more meals than almost everybody combined, type of thing, you know, that. And they want it to be, if you go to this Denny's, then you go to any Denny's in the country and you order the Grand Slam, guess what? It's going to be the same thing.
Right.
The hash browns are going to be done the same way. The pancakes are going to taste the same. Everything's going to be the same no matter where you are. Okay? That would be the approach. And again, so you want to be friendly, you want to be confident, you want them to like you. Okay? If they like you and you have the skills, you're in great shape. If they like you but they don't have the skills, as Jesse said, they might train you. They have the ability to train you. They might say, you know what, Jamie, we like you, we like your spirit, we like your personality. You really don't have any good cooking experience, so you don't have enough cooking experience. We saw you got your degree at CSN, so you have formal training, that's good. You don't have experience, so we want to start you as a dishwasher, or a prep.
Prep cook.
Okay? And your attitude should be great. Now, if everything is going well and you have bonded, and they say, do you have any questions for us? What are you going to say?
I'm still working on that.
Death. Huh?
Is there room?
How do you sell it?
They
Is
say,
there
what,
room to move up in the company?
what, do you have any questions for us?
Is there room to move up in the
So
company?
you know what? I want to work in the downtown project. How much do I have to pay to work here? What?
Yeah.
That's going to be their response. What? What did I just hear you say? Did you say what Angel said?
I work,
No.
I work for free today. I work
No,
for free.
no, you're not being serious.
I know.
What you're getting across is you're passionate, you're motivated, you really want to work there, you're friendly, you're clever, you said something that nobody else said, and when I go home tonight or when I'm talking to Tony Shea or somebody says, how'd it go, whatever, he said, you know what, there was one guy here that said he'd want to work here so much, how much did it cost him to work there?
How to use that?
Use it, but you need to do it believably.
Yeah.
Right. Not like it was staged.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta
Not like I do
don't
it.
talk with like be like assertive. I'm a hard
Yeah,
worker.
don't throw your water at him.
Yeah.
Restraint.
Don't
That's
talk
right.
This is a man ain't had a job in 20 years.
What do you mean? He's got a job.
Some
Yeah,
work.
but he didn't have one for 20 years before
Well,
that.
some people are independent. Okay, so we've got 30 seconds left.
I got
In
offered a lot of jobs.
quiet, please.
Try again.
I don't want to have Sherry have to come out
Oh, no way.
again. Now,
About yesterday?
in California, what questions do you have?
Any questions, anyone? No.
Come on.
Santa Fe Springs are okay, Ed.
Okay, so we've got to start having more questions.
I got one.
Are they awake?
They're very awake. I can
What's the
tell you
thing
that.
about not looking, or looking away from her, not looking directly at him for that couple seconds?
Okay, so in the Indian version about eye contact, it was initially avoid having to have eyes locked on them, avoid that,
That's not right.
so that they can look at you and it doesn't get weird. Okay, I mean, how do you feel if you're looking at me and I'm checking you out?
That's fine.
Okay, so for most people it's not comfortable.
Like picture on the wall. He like commented on that.
Well, his thing was, well, you don't need to comment, it's just the Indian version was just let them look at you and see
And what
what
about
you
the
look like.
standing up thing?
Don't worry about that. That's not going to occur today. Yes.
I have a question. how do you portray confidence by not looking at them at the same time?
That was a different story.
Okay,
That's what I'm
so now wait, what,
That's an
okay,
idiot.
so let's just be clear. What he said is, don't look at them for a short period of time so they can basically check you out.
Correct.
Okay, so it wasn't a, just so we're on the same page, it's not for the whole interview, look away.
Oh, no. No, that wasn't the intention.
So for that 2 or 3 seconds,
We've only
you
got
just
5
need
minutes.
to, okay, so one of the things he said was have your hands in the steeple, right?
Okay.
So, but what you might be doing is he might be saying, have a seat. So here, that could be the 2 or 3 seconds where they're looking at you.
Right.
Where you're looking down for your seat, where you're going to sit, or you're putting your book down on the table. So I wouldn't be concerned about the don't look away. I like the one in the first one, which is when you're shaking hands, say to yourself, I need to know 2 things. I need to remember, what is this person's name and what color are their eyes? Okay? Those 2 things I think are important. But confidence, to answer your question, confidence would be continuing to smile, to have a small smile, like a grin or something on your face. You know, say to yourself, you know, I'm really appreciative that I'm here.
Stand up straight.
Have something like
This is, I'm really lucky. And so here, our 2 guys here, Jamie and Mark, that are going in today, most of the people are going tomorrow, you have an opportunity to really be appreciative. So the other night when we were doing the lowdown, and I was speaking for the school in front of all of the cool people down here, the first thing I said is, I'm really grateful to be here. Because person after person after person that has come up here has talked about stuff that is historic stuff. They're not doing this anywhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, guys were talking about Life is Beautiful, First Friday, this, all of these big things that they're doing. And so here, you guys here should be having this attitude of, wow, I get a chance to interview, to be part of the downtown project where 20 years from now, I'm going to be able to say I was there.
Yeah, and I
No, I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay, so
Tony Shane-
to answer your question, Vicki, thank you, Scott. You know, what you can do is just remind yourself how lucky you are to be in this position right now.
Okay, so should I look for, let's say, a focal point that's between them and the floor?
No.
You're not supposed to be fidgety, of course, and you've got people,
Let- Okay, so
your feet planted on the floor. It's gone beyond those few seconds. They're still looking at your resume and checking you out. You don't want to make that eye-to-eye or that stare down on them, more or less.
yeah, okay. So here's how I think the first 5 seconds goes. I'm off camera. Okay? I walk in, I put my arms out, my hand out, I say, hi, my name is Ed. How are you? And that's about the first 5 seconds, right there. And then he's going to say, hi, I'm Jim. Oh, great. So I'm thinking Jimbo, okay. Jimmy Johns. Jungle Jim.
Jim.
And I'm going off to the races, okay? Slim Jims. I'm going off to the races to remember his name and what color are his eyes.
Yeah.
And then he's going to say, have a seat. Okay, I'm going to look down for the seat, and at that point, that's when they have the opportunity to look at me. And so I just want to be very clear, precise, forceful, you know, pull the chair out, sit down, or move around in front of the chair and sit down and do it. Sit in my seat, look him in the eye, and smile. Because they have an agenda. They know what they're going to do. I don't need to do anything except for wait.
Yeah.
Okay? So what we can do, what we should do, is that list of the 10 questions, we should have our answers prepared. And so for the next hour, Mark, well, actually 2 hours, Mark and Jamie need to focus on answers to those 10 questions because they will be asked. And if you have the person, if you know the person's name and you can use it in there, gosh, Mark, that's a tough question. Or, yeah, I know what you're saying, Mark, or I have had that experience too. And just get it so that you have a thing of confidence, because confident people will use the other person's name, right? Who doesn't use the other person's name? People who are not confident and they feel subordinate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. What other question?
The other question I have is, I see you, like I myself, talk a lot with my hands. As I'm speaking, I use a lot of hand gestures. It's the Italian in me. Where do we stand on that?
Okay. So here's the starting point is what they say in France, different horses for different courses. You can't do the same thing every time. You know, if your only tool is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, right? You need to have a toolbox full of things. So when I'm using hand gestures in here, it's completely different than what I would do in an interview. So to answer your question about the interview, I would only use hand gestures if it was something where it was appropriate to be passionate. Okay, so if I'm applying for a dishwashing job, I want them to believe I'm passionate about what? Washing dishes.
Yeah.
So I might say, you know, I love washing dishes, and I'm moving my hands like I have this invisible dish in my hand. I love washing dishes. I love it. And what they're going to say is, man, on a non-conscious level, they might be saying, this guy really does love it because he doesn't have a dish in his hand. He's thinking about a dish. Yeah. Okay. So, or if you're talking about distance, I came, you know, I was over in the school. I walked over from the school, pointing there. But generally not, and never, ever, 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 never, never, ever point your finger at them. Okay, don't do that. Some people do it out of habit. You know.
I know that.
Okay, I get derailed when that happens to me. When somebody starts pointing their finger at me,
Move your hand a lot, but when
I
you
try to
record,
figure
you
out.
need to move your hands. Like
Yeah.
different times, there's proper times to move your hands around. Proper times.
So, in general, what I would say to answer your question, that's a good question. And this goes to body language. So this is a, what is the right brain control? Not physically,
Passion. Or no.
creativity, right?
Creativity.
And the left brain is logic.
Logic.
Okay. So you should use gestures more when you're talking about right brain stuff.
Yeah.
When you're talking about creativity. So washing a dish, if I'm cooking or something, if I'm talking about that, or if I'm talking about prepping, I might do this with my hand and get him to think, oh, it's like he's chopping, he's prepping.
Yeah.
He's doing, yeah, he's using a knife. Or, you know, I like making salads. And I'm doing this, and he sees me making a salad. He is on a non-conscious level going to be sucked into my story. Which I like doing salads. Okay, so if you're asked a left brain question and you give a right brain answer, you know, what's the square root of 32? That's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Not good.
Okay, not good. That's a left brain. That's the right brain answer to a left brain question.
Yeah.
Okay, so but for today, if anybody has interviews today in California, focus just on the first 5 seconds. If you blow the first 5 seconds, probably your only hope would be to say, wow, I really blew that. And hope that they'll give you a restart. They'll laugh and they'll give you a restart.
We can have that.
Okay? Then the first 50 seconds, and it's going to go like that.
That's like that's
Okay? It's going to go like that. At the end of that, you should start feeling, is this going good, not good, or I can't tell.
Yeah.
Okay? They're going to have an idea how it's going. I can assure you of that. Okay? If things are going well, don't blow it. Don't get too aggressive. You know, if you're in the lead, if you're going to win the race, and all you need to do is finish in order to win, don't start doing goofy stuff. You know, don't start, well, I'm going to try hopping or skipping or something, and then, you know, something bad happens. Don't do that, because it only takes one stupid statement to ruin everything good. And then at the end, what's the next step? And they might say, well, we're going to look at other people. And then you might feel confident enough to do the Tiger Todd. What's the Tiger Todd thing?
Why would you do that?
Do what?
Look at other people. I'm here.
Well, gotta have balls to do that.
Are you asking about the turn back?
Well, so what would Tiger Todd say at the end? Yeah.
One handshake. Oh, by the way, tell me what didn't work out.
Okay. So what you could do today, if they aren't ready to say yes, which they're not going to be because you're going to be there first, and they're going to interview other people, but you should say, what's the next step? They'll probably say, well, we'll get back to you.
That's good. That ain't good.
Okay.
May I call you?
Well, we'll figure that out based upon, because here we have an inside track. Okay, remember, when you guys are in there today with the downtown project, you're representing yourself and the school and people who aren't even at the school yet, the people for tomorrow. So we don't want it tomorrow for them to say, oh no, here comes another Larson person.
Right.
Or here's the good news, it's a Larson person, so we're not going to hire them.
No, we want them to say, cool, there's another one.
Yeah,
But what
exactly.
do we want them to say?
We want them to say, cool, here's a Larson graduate, or here's a Larson student. Okay, these people are prepared. Okay, so we've gone way past our time. This is your Friday in California. I know that it was a tough week because of Crystal being out and Stephanie being out and Dennis coming in. But the reports I got is that we survived. Is that true?
Yay!
Okay, so good. That's the good news. So Monday we'll pick it up with something else. New students, please send me an email so I can get you your professional account set up. And good job. Everybody's proud of everybody's strong effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Bye. Yeah, 4.2.
Right, so that, bro.